The Bears have upgraded 3/5 of their offensive line.
Yep, and maybe there's more to come. Who knows? Why stop now? Don't stop now, boys. If you want to just voice your thoughts to the Meatball Machine, get on the Odyssey app. Get on there. You know exactly where to find. Just as you would go to listen live on the Score. When you click the Score, and it'll either say listen live or it'll say leave a voice message.
Leave us a voice message.
Leave a message.
The Meatball Machine doesn't talk back to you.
It loves you. The Meatball Machine is your therapy. It always listens. It nods and it says, yes, dear. And it says everything will be okay.
Doesn't say anything, actually. You can need it to be whatever you need it to be.
312-644-6767 is our phone number. That was the number dialed by Vince in Gurnee, who is on the Score. What do you think, Vince?
Hey, guys. Thank you for taking my call. I'm really excited to see that the Bears are making moves. Just that alone just lets me know that they're taking a new approach. But I kind of also want to hear the Dan Bernstein that takes the fun out of everything. Dalman isn't necessarily some sure thing. And the review on Jackson has kind of not been all that positive. And so I think it's the equivalent to another team saying, oh, we're taking Tevin Jenkins. Will we all be so sad to see him go? Are these guys really upgrades, or are they just new names? The Bears win the offseason almost every year. They got championships and moral victories. Are we getting overly excited and jumping the ship on here a little bit, or where are we at? And I don't want this to mean now we're taking Genty at 10. They still need a tackle. They still need to shore up their lines. I'm just curious on what you guys think.
Yeah, I don't think I want Genty at 10 either, but if you want me to take the fun out of it, I'm happy to do that. If you are requesting that I take the fun out of it.
I don't know that was an unreasonable call, to be frank.
It wasn't unreasonable at all. But I do think the point of some of this splurging in free agency is to get irrationally exuberant. It's part of it, and you're right. And I think we know we're doing it. Is that cool?
Yes. I think the big picture, we all have to zoom out here quite a bit. Like, I'm talking go to the top of the Sears Tower, look down at the observation deck, straight down, get on that overhang. Because we knew that the offensive line market was going to be wildly expensive. The most ideal free agents stayed with their respective teams for a reason. They wanted to retain that talent, and they spent a lot of money to do so. The Bears respectably created their own market in trading for players that they knew might be too expensive for their other teams, or perhaps there was a concern there when it came to injury, like with Jackson. Yes, at some point you could say, well, is this a guy who they spent a lot of money on who might not play as many games? But you knew there were going to be some risks you had to take. Overall, when you zoom out and go to the very top and look down, what you're seeing is a team trying to give Caleb Williams the appropriate protection and time he needs to be the best quarterback that he can be. This is an upgrade overall, and that's how you have to look at this.
This is Jesus checking in on the Odyssey app. What's up, Jesus?
Hey, how are you guys? Listen, I know that the last caller just talked about Genty at 10 not wanting him. I'm high on Genty, but two things. What is there an interior lineman that's a badass? That's, excuse my language. I'm so sorry.
I like it.
That they can get there, or do you trade your number one and get Trey Hendricks?
Well, Trey Hendrickson, the 30-year-old sack leader,
machine.
Stop. I would still consider doing that if possible. I think that there's sort of a lot of questions in there. Now, if you're talking about the effect of the draft on these free agency moves so far in general, I would say, remember, Dalman is 26, right?
That's entering the 2025 season. He's 26.
That's different. That is, now you've got a 3-year commitment to this guy. You've got him in his prime up until the end of the Caleb Williams rookie deal.
Your face. You're so happy saying this.
Right?
You just realized it.
But now
we have a window.
Now he's going to see the same. Caleb Williams is going to have the same giant ass in front of him and his hands under it for the next 3 years.
Pleasant.
Well, I'm just saying that's what it is. He's going to be staring at the same exact giant ass for the next 3 years.
And listen, I think
very comfortable with it.
A big piece of this that we need to consider is also Ben Johnson said he's going to cater this offense to what the personnel is good at. So if Drew Dalman is better at one aspect of things than another when it comes to run blocking, then guess what happens?
And you're
going to try to play to that strength.
Yeah, they'll run plenty of outside zone. I mean, all teams do. But I also think that you're going to need to draft other interior linemen.
Yeah,
because the other guys are
stopgaps.
Right. The other guys are stopgaps.
And you, again, what does this mean for guys that they've already drafted, like Karan Amagaji, for example, his last season? Braxton Jones, let's talk about that. Are you happier with the line overall because the middle just got shored up in a big way? Yes. This is the good to great conversation that has to go on. You bring up Tevin Jenkins because that's what you do when you have a good team, is that, you talk about the guys who have had serviceable years for you, or at least acceptable when it came to the status quo. This is Derek in Bolingbrook on Sports Radio 670. What's up, Derek?
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
Good morning, guys. I am just so happy because, you know what? We always had toys. That's fine. But now we have protection. And one person that you guys haven't brought up, I guess because it's so new with the whole pickup, the Toonie. The Toonie signing is where everything comes into fruition because we have a 4-time champion that showed these Bears how to be professional, or not professional, but better. And then we have a 4-time champion that's going to show on the offensive line how to be linemen. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it.
That's part of it. But again, we've been told that he's not necessarily the vocal leader type.
I do think it's important, though, to have somebody there who is consistent.
Yes.
And when you consider the sad quotes that Kyler Gordon, for example, gave Jason Leisure at the end of the season, to have somebody say, I know what winning is like. I've been to the promised land. I can tell you it is good. Just to have somebody who's a reassuring presence there physically on the field and perhaps mentally as a good anchor in the room, that's important.
Here's Brad Biggs. This just posted to the Tribune. I'm getting this via Blue Sky. He says, with the shortage of left tackles on the market and a poor draft for centers, Dalman figured to be the Bears' #1 target in free agency. They were aggressive to make it happen in a free agent pool that some view as weak and that was watered down by teams extending some of their own players. The Bears got a player coming out of his rookie contract and entering the prime years of his career. The pocket should look significantly different for Williams, who was sacked an NFL high 68 times as a rookie, and the overhauled interior should aid the running game. Addressing the protection for Williams was paramount after he spent too much time scrambling last season. Dalman was a 4th-round pick by the Falcons out of Stanford in 2021, started 40 games over the last 3 seasons, missing 8 last year and 3 in 2023 with separate ankle injuries. His father, Chris, was an offensive lineman for the 49ers in the 90s and a member of their Super Bowl 29 championship team. Dalman grew up around the game. They've had 4 Week 1 starters at center in the last 5 seasons. Coleman Shelton, Lucas Patrick, Sam Mustipher, and Cody Whitehair.
What about Max Rustipher? Does he count? That would mean 5.
That would be 5.
Shout out, Danny.
He said, chances are Poles isn't done either. He said the Bears will need to extend Joe Thuney sooner rather than later. And the Bears are banking on Ben Johnson's relationship with Jonah Jackson to spark a bounce-back season. Okay.
Yes, all of that is true.
Says Dalman's contract slots behind Creed Humphreys. Humphrey was at 4 years, $72 million, far and away the highest paid center at 18 a season with 35 guaranteed. But Dalman's deal eclipses the 4-year, $50 million contract Lloyd Cushenberry signed with the Titans that had $30 million in guarantees. He said Poles can turn his attention to finding help for the defensive line, but attention unlikely to stray far from the offensive line as the offseason unfolds. We are not going to do High Noon because of everything that is going on. We are following everything that's happening. If you are just joining us, indeed, the Bears have signed free agent center Drew Dalman to a 3-year contract. He'll be making the calls. He will be the person handing that football to Caleb Williams for the next 3 years.
The Bears got the best free agent center in the market.
Sometimes
the Bears got hold on. The Bears got the best available coach in the market, and the Bears got the best free agent center in the market.
Mm-hmm.
The rapture's coming. The rapture is here.
They traded for an all-pro lineman, and then they got another former all-star line. I don't know what I'm saying.